Okay, welcome back to another video. This one is somewhat of a follow-up to my Lindsey Buckingham top ranked LPs video, and this is going to be the top 10 underappreciated Lindsey songs. And right off the bat, you can find a lot of them off this, which I recommended to anyone who, loves Fleetwood Mac but doesn't know Lindsey's awesome solo career, which you can't really go wrong. You could pick up any record and it would be great for a different reason. But if you want kind of a nice all-encompassing record, you can pick this up on LP or CD. So this obviously isn't going to be ranked because there's no reason to, and that would be impossible. Especially if you love Lindsey Buckingham as much as I do. So yeah, the studio LPs thing is ranked. This isn't going to be, and it's going to be somewhat in chronological order. So actually, I'm going to try my best to do it in chronological order. So first up, you got to do some off this one because yes, this is the best-selling Lindsey's record, and of course had Holiday Road on it, which would have driven all the sales. And that's really the closest he got. Well, no, it's not the closest he got to a hit solo. It was a huge hit, as was Holiday Road from National Lampoon's Vacation, which they also used in some of the other Vacation movies. So, yeah, Mary Lee Jones, track 3 from this. Holiday Road gets all the airplay. Buona gets a little footnote now and then, but Mary Lee Jones is just a nice rocker, and I said it in the last video, but I'm not quite sure if it's a drum machine or Lindsey playing. It sounds convincing, but I really like the drumming on it. And, yeah, this Mary Lee Jones and Johnny Stew is him just rocking out and having a good time. Whereas a lot of the record is kind of like, if you know the Fleetwood Mac cut, Oh Diane, it's kind of like 50s throwback and throwback to, Kingston Trio and all this other stuff that Lindsey would have listened to when he was a young chap. So it's a very scattershot debut LP. And it, if you bought it expecting, Fleetwood Mac compositions by the wizard, the master of the Fleetwood Mac compositions, you'd probably be disappointed, and maybe that's why a lot of people didn't keep following his solo career. I'm not sure, but he's an innovator, and it's an interesting record. So Mary Lee Jones off that one. Number 2 in the unranked list is I Must Go. So it's just a fun cut with lots of synthesizers, as is my other pick, I Want You. Just super catchy. They probably should have made one of these two songs a single. I know a lot of people like Slow Dancing, and yeah, I do too, but I don't think it was a very good second single, and it's definitely my least favorite song off this LP, but it's still decent, but I think it pales, especially compared to these two. I Want You is a nice, kind of direct, catchy opening song. It really shows that this is a different style for Lindsey over what he was doing on Law and Order or what he was doing in Fleetwood Mac. This is a very synthesizer-heavy record, lots of keyboards and drum machines, and it's definitely not a dance record, but it doesn't have all the guitars and stuff that you'd expect Lindsey to do. But it's a really cool record. It's somewhat of a product of its time, but I don't really mean that in a bad way. It's just maybe the production, as cool as it is and busy as it is, sometimes the production, it goes, yeah, that sounds kind of dated. But as you could see from my ranking video, I'm still a huge fan of it. I really like it. So those two, I Must Go and I Want You. So that one came out in 84. So I believe my next pick does as well, and you can get it on the Back to the Future soundtrack, which has, always been available on cassette and LP and CD, but now you can get a picture disc, which is really tempting because Back to the Future has an amazing soundtrack, but I don't have it right now, so I'm just going to hold this up because you can get Time Bomb Town on this one with two of his other soundtrack compositions in Holiday Road, from Vacation, National Lampoon, and Dancing Across the USA. Unfortunately, On the Wrong Side isn't on here. That would be amazing if they put that song on here, because it's from kind of a forgotten 1992 movie, and it's such a good song that they wasted on such a, I don't know, inconsequential nothing movie. Um, yeah, so Time Bomb Town, which has kind of what you'd call a Hocketing effect with his vocals, where he goes, I had a bad reputation. Like, it's like up and down, like it's really shaky sounding. It's a really weird way of singing. A lot of people find it annoying in some respects. I always think I mean, it's cool on Time Bomb Town, that's for sure. One of my favorite bands, Animal Collective, has implemented it on certain studio cuts of theirs. Yeah, if you use it in the right way, it's fine. It's like how scat vocals can be fine, or, there's lots of different styles, right? Okay, next up, of course, I would have to choose some off this. And, this is the way it goes. So, obviously, and I mentioned it in the other video, All My Sorrows, which is definitely one of the most touching Lindsey songs. It's so layered, and the vocal work is amazing, and the lyrics are quite to the point. They're quite kind of heartbreaking. It's a sad song, wallowing away in your own sorrows, and it was a dream come true seeing him do that song in I think it was 2011 or 2012, so a whole 10 years ago. Then my next pick is Surrender the Rain, which is a much happier sounding song, and kind of starts with kind of this oriental flair, kind of, and it sort of sounds, I don't know, like you're like traveling through the clouds somewhere or something, and then it comes in, oh you foolish pretender, and then the Surrender the Rain part with the vocal effects and harmonies coming in. It's just one of his most beautiful songs, as is All My Sorrows. I could have easily picked a couple rockers from this. I think maybe because Wrong and Countdown were singles, maybe I won't choose them, but nothing on here really impacted the charts. But, this is a masterpiece. This record is one of the best records from any of the very many Fleetwood Mac members' solo careers. And, for consistency, it ranks up with some of the best Fleetwood Mac records. So, highly recommended. Obviously didn't sell too well. It came out when grunge was a thing. It's hard to market this when, Nirvana are taking over the world, and the great Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and all those incredible bands. So, it's just kind of bad timing. He held himself up in the studio for 5 years, and then came out, and this kind of music wasn't fashionable anymore or marketable. But all the big fans always know that, this is a masterwork, complete masterpiece. And most people would pick it as their best Lindsey record, which is why I showed some restraint and only picked 2 songs off it. But if I was making a best of top 10 and not an underappreciated top 10, I probably would take about 5 off here. It would probably make half the list. But again, it's really hard to pick with Lindsey because he has so many incredible ones. So next up is going to be... I didn't have this out for the ranking video. But I think I'm going to take... it's so hard. I was looking over at my notes and going, do I want to pick this one or do I want another one? There's so many good ones off this one. Probably Under the Skin, which is the title track, of course. But, I could have easily picked Show You How with its layered kind of descending voices all coming in at different times, and then kind of collaborating at the end, Show You How, and they extend the how note. That's really nice. Yeah, I could have picked any of these, but I'm going to pick Under the Skin. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking the easy way out, but, you could, again, pick anything off this one, and it would be extremely underrated. That's a pretty nice cover, actually. Very singer-songwriter, but, and this is the most kind of downcast of his records. So from the incredible but incredibly ugly Gift of Screws, it's not quite as bad as I made fun of it really hardcore in my last video, but it's just because it's blurry, I think. It's not so much the expression, he could look a little happier, but he's just giving you the intense eyes. Anyway, enough about the cover. So I'm going to pick Love Runs Deeper, which obviously sounds like it could have been a Fleetwood Mac song for sure. I think if Fleetwood Mac as a band carried on in the studio after Say You Will, this probably would have been a band cut. Because a lot of Lindsey stuff does get turned into, band efforts, stuff that he was trying to bring to his solo ventures. Like, that's basically what happened with Tango in the Night, and then it happened again with Say You Will. So, yeah, Gift of Screws, and the choices are going to be Love Runs Deeper, like I just said, and the incredible Time Precious Time, which I would probably put in my top 3 or 5 Lindsey cuts of all time. It's just so technical, and it just sounds so unreal, and all the notes cascade over you, and all the voices, it's so layered, and All My Sorrows was a studio cut that I thought, ooh, that one would be hard to pull off live. And he performed it when I saw him, and I was thrilled, but I don't think you could ever do Time Precious Time live effectively. You'd have to completely rework the cut, but man, it's an incredible venture. And at the risk of repeating myself, I could have picked pretty much anything off here. The only one I knew I wasn't going to pick was Did You Miss Me, because it was a single, but it's not like it really went anywhere, right? So, I could have picked Wait For You or Great Day, which kind of elicits Tusk. It's kind of the closest he's come to the Tusk sound again, though it doesn't have that kind of punk new wave mentality that the Tusk's Lindsey cuts had. Not that it sounds punk per se, but the attitude was definitely punk. And kind of in the same way that when the Clash stopped playing punk 3 records in, because they had such a punk attitude and mentality, it still was punk, even though that's not what they were playing anymore. But that's for another time. And then 10 of 10, again, they're not in order, so don't worry, but Gone Too Far. Wow, like, Gone Too Far is absolutely incredible, and you could totally feel like, again, if Fleetwood Mac were in active service and were still putting out studio LPs, and he brought Gone Too Far to the band, I could totally see Christine and Stevie singing the ooh la la la, like the whole background harmonizing, and then he does this kind of descending chord, and then it's just magic. It's like the 70s all over again, and with those 3 voices, I mean, it would have been a classic. But this is a great studio LP, but that's the track that I would give 5 stars. I love Gone Too Far. Other ones you could have picked, okay, is like Stars Are Crazy. I think more people should hear that one for sure. But yeah, Gone Too Far. So, those are the underappreciated Lindsey picks, and like I said, it's really all underappreciated for being one of the top selling within his band, being one of the top selling American artists. The fact that people don't know his solo career is criminal, actually. And if you want to know where to start, you can buy this, and you can get it pretty cheap on CD, really. And also, I'd totally recommend this to anyone who hasn't heard it. If you need to preview it, check it out on Spotify or Apple Music, but otherwise just go buy it because it's incredible. What you looking at there, Lindsey? So, that's all she wrote for this one, and got another video coming up in a couple hours, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and leave your favorite or your underappreciated ones in the comments, because that's always super interesting, and catch you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.